Most men think attraction fades with age, but what if the truth is it actually sharpens and women start noticing you in a way they never did before? True confidence is quiet. It doesn't ask for permission and it doesn't wait for applause. It shows up fully, without needing anyone to validate its presence. When a man reaches this level, something shifts inside him. He no longer looks around the room to see who's watching, who's impressed, or who's judging. He simply acts in alignment with who he is. Most people spend years chasing approval without realizing it. They adjust their behavior, filter their words, and shape their identity based on how others might react. But true confidence removes that pressure. It allows a man to speak honestly, to walk his own path, and to make decisions without constantly second-guessing himself. There's a freedom in that, and it's noticeable. When approval is no longer the goal, authenticity takes its place, and authenticity has a different kind of power. It's not loud or aggressive, but it's deeply felt. People sense it in the way he carries himself, in the way he listens without trying to impress, and in the way he doesn't rush to fill silence just to be liked. This kind of confidence also changes how a man handles rejection or disagreement. He doesn't take it personally because his self-worth isn't tied to external opinions. If someone walks away, he lets them. If someone disagrees, he remains steady. There's no need to defend his value because he already knows it. And that's where attraction naturally begins. Not from trying harder, but from needing less. When a man is no longer seeking approval, he becomes grounded, unpredictable in the best way, and deeply self-assured. That energy creates curiosity. It draws people in without effort. Because in a world where most are trying to be accepted, the one who already accepts himself stands out the most. Emotional control is a form of strength that most people underestimate, especially in a world that often glorifies physical power. But as a man grows older, he begins to realize that real power isn't about how forcefully you can act, it's about how calmly you can respond. Anyone can react in the heat of the moment. Anger, frustration, ego, these are easy, automatic responses. But controlling those emotions, especially when you have every reason to lose control, requires a different level of discipline. It shows maturity. It shows awareness. And most importantly, it shows that you are not ruled by circumstances. A man with emotional control doesn't raise his voice to prove a point. He doesn't rush to defend himself when challenged. Instead, he listens, processes, and chooses his response carefully. That pause, that moment of restraint, is where his true strength lies. It creates a sense of stability around him, something people can feel even if it's never spoken. Physical strength can impress for a moment, but emotional control builds lasting respect. It signals that this man has faced life, has dealt with pressure, and has learned how to stay grounded through it all. He's not easily shaken, not easily provoked, and not easily influenced by others' opinions or moods. This kind of control also changes how he navigates relationships. He doesn't overreact to small issues or let temporary emotions ruin meaningful connections. He understands timing, tone, and balance. That makes interactions with him feel safe, steady, and real. And that's where its true power reveals itself. Because when a man can control his emotions, he controls the direction of his life. He becomes someone others can trust, someone who leads without force, and someone whose presence feels calm even in chaos. Clarity in decisions is a quiet but powerful trait that instantly changes how a man is perceived. It's not about always being right, but about knowing what you want, why you want it, and moving toward it without constant hesitation. When a man has that kind of clarity, his energy feels grounded. There's no confusion in his actions, no mixed signals in his words. Most people struggle with indecision. They overthink, delay, and second-guess themselves, often waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. But a man with clarity doesn't get stuck in that loop. He makes choices, accepts the outcomes, and adjusts if needed. That forward movement creates momentum, and momentum creates direction. There's something naturally reassuring about being around someone who knows where they stand. It removes uncertainty. It removes emotional guesswork. You don't have to wonder what he means or where things are going, because his actions are consistent with his words. That alignment builds trust over time. Clarity also reflects inner stability. It shows that he has taken the time to understand himself, his values, his boundaries, and his priorities. Because of that, he doesn't easily get pulled in different directions by outside pressure. He listens, but he doesn't lose himself in the noise. In relationships, this becomes even more powerful. A man who is clear in his intentions creates a sense of emotional safety. There's no confusion, no unnecessary games, no shifting behavior. He leads with honesty and stands by his decisions, which allows others to relax and feel secure around him. And that's where direction is born. not from control or dominance, but from consistency and purpose. When a man moves with clarity, he naturally becomes someone others can follow, trust, and feel at ease with, because his presence answers questions before they even need to be asked. Presence is something you can't fake for long. It's not about what you say, and it's not about how you look. It's about how you feel to others when you're there. A man with true presence doesn't need to fill every silence with words or rely on appearance to be noticed. His energy does the work for him. Most people try to stand out by talking more, dressing better, or trying harder to be seen. But presence works in the opposite way. It's calm, steady, and grounded. When a man is fully present, he isn't distracted by what others think or busy trying to impress. He's engaged in the moment, aware of his surroundings, and comfortable in his own skin. That kind of stillness is rare. And because it's rare, it becomes powerful. When he walks into a room, he doesn't scan for approval. He doesn't adjust himself to fit in. He simply exists as he is. And that authenticity creates a silent impact. People may not immediately understand why they notice him, but they do. It's in the way he listens without interrupting, the way he maintains eye contact without forcing it, and the way he speaks only when he has something meaningful to say. Presence also shows emotional balance. There's no rush, no nervous energy, no need to dominate attention. Instead, there's patience, there's control, there's a sense that this man is not easily moved by chaos or pressure. Over time, this becomes more attractive than any external trait, because words can be empty and appearance can fade, but presence is felt on a deeper level. It creates connection without effort. And when a man truly understands how to just be rather than constantly trying to prove, he becomes someone people naturally gravitate toward, not because he demands attention, but because his presence quietly earns it. Detachment from validation is one of the rarest qualities a man can develop, and it changes everything about how he is perceived. Most people move through life unconsciously seeking approval, in their words, their actions, even in their silence. They want to be liked, accepted, and reassured. But when a man breaks free from that need, his entire energy shifts. He no longer performs for attention. He doesn't shape his personality to fit expectations or chase reactions from others. Instead, he operates from a place of self-assurance. He knows who he is, and more importantly, he's comfortable with it. That comfort creates a calm, grounded presence that others can feel instantly. There's something magnetic about a person who doesn't need anything from you. It removes pressure. It removes the subtle tension that comes from trying to impress or win someone over. Conversations feel more natural, interactions feel more genuine, and that authenticity becomes attractive on its own. This kind of detachment doesn't mean he's cold or distant. It means he's not dependent. He can appreciate someone without needing their approval to feel complete. He can walk away from situations that don't align with him without feeling the urge to chase or fix them. That ability to let go, to remain unaffected by outcomes, creates a sense of mystery and strength. People start to lean in when they realize he's not seeking validation. They become curious about what drives him, what he values, and why he seems so unaffected by things that usually trigger others. And that curiosity naturally turns into attraction, because when a man stops trying to be chosen, he becomes the one who stands out. Not through effort, but through absence of need. And in a world full of people asking for attention, the one who doesn't ask for it often receives it the most. There's a quiet shift that happens in a man after 60. It's not about looks, status, or chasing attention anymore. It's deeper than that. It's something women don't always talk about openly, but they feel it instantly. While younger men often try to impress, older men who understand this one trait don't need to try at all. And that's exactly why they stand out. Speech. By the time a man reaches this stage in life, he has already seen enough to know what matters and what doesn't. He's experienced wins, losses, love, rejection, and somewhere along that journey, something changes. He stops performing. He stops proving. And most importantly, he stops chasing. That's the trait. It's not age that attracts women. It's the calm detachment that often comes with it. A man who is no longer desperate for attention carries a different energy. He listens more than he speaks, and when he does speak, his words have weight. There's no rush in him, no anxiety to impress, no need to be liked. And that creates a kind of mystery, a kind of presence that pulls people in without effort. Women feel safe around that. Not because he's trying to make them feel safe, but because he's already grounded within himself. He doesn't react emotionally to every situation. He observes. He understands. He chooses his responses carefully. That level of control is rare, and rarity creates attraction. Younger men often confuse attraction with intensity. They think doing more, saying more, chasing harder will win attention. But the man who has learned to step back, who knows when to walk away, who doesn't cling, that man becomes unforgettable. Because he shows something deeper than desire, he shows self-respect. And when a woman sees a man who respects himself enough to not need her validation, it shifts everything. Suddenly, she becomes the one leaning in. She becomes curious. She starts wondering what he's thinking, what he wants, why he's so unaffected. It's not about ignoring her. It's about not depending on her. That difference is everything. This man doesn't try to control outcomes. He's okay whether things work out or not. And that mindset removes pressure from every interaction. It makes conversations feel natural. It makes his presence feel easy yet powerful. He doesn't seek attention, but he gets it. He doesn't chase, but he's noticed. He doesn't force connection, but people feel connected to him. Because when a man masters detachment, he becomes someone who cannot be easily shaken. And in a world full of noise, reactions, and emotional chaos, that kind of stillness becomes incredibly attractive. And that's why women, often without even realizing it, are drawn toward men who carry this quiet, unshakable energy.